Hey everybody, so today we're going to be reading Progress Report 9, which starts us with April 3rd. So we left off on March 29th and we're picking up on April 3rd, so it's been a couple of days since he last recorded. Dr. Strauss showed me how to keep the TV turned low, so now I can sleep. I don't hear a thing, and I still don't understand what it says. A few times I play it over in the morning to find out what I learned when I was sleeping, and I don't think so. Miss Kenyon says maybe it's another language or something, but most times it sounds American. It talks so fast, faster than even Miss Gold, who was my teacher in 6th grade, and I remember she talked so fast I couldn't understand her. I told Dr. Strauss what good is it to get smart in my sleep. I want to be smart when I'm awake. He says it's the same thing and I have two minds. There is the subconscious and the conscious. That's how you spell it. And one don't tell the other one what it's doing. They don't even talk to each other. That's why I dream. And boy, have I been having crazy dreams. Wow, ever since that night TV, the late show. I forgot to ask him if it was only me or if everybody had those two minds. I just looked up the word in the dictionary Dr. Strauss gave me, the word subconscious, adjective, of the nature of mental operations yet not present in the conscious, subconscious conflict of desires. There's more, but I still don't know what it means. This isn't a very good dictionary for dumb people like me. Anyway, the headache is from the party. My friends from the factory, Joe Carp and Frank Riley, invited me to go with them to Muggsy's saloon for some drinks. I don't like to drink, but they said we will have lots of fun. I had a good time. Joe Carp said I should show the girls how I mop out the toilet in the factory, and he got me a mop. I showed them and everyone laughed when I told that Mr. Donegan said I was the best janitor he ever had because I like my job and do it good, and never come late or miss a day except for my operation. I said Miss Kenyon Miss Kenyon always said Charlie be proud of your job because you do it good. Everybody laughed and we had a good time, and they gave me lots of drinks, and Joe said Charlie is a card when he's potted. I don't know what that means, but everybody likes me and we have fun. I can't wait to be smart like my best friends, Joe Carp and Frank Riley. I don't remember how the party was over, but I think I went out to buy a newspaper and a coffee for Joe and Frank, and when I came back there was no one there. I looked for them all over till late. Then I don't remember so good, but I think I got sleepy or sick. A nice cop brought me back home. That's what my landlady, Mrs. Flynn, says. But I got a headache and a big lump on my head and a black and blue all over. I think maybe I fell, but Joe Carp says it was the cop they beat up drunks sometimes. I don't think so. Miss Kenyon says cops are to help people. Anyway, I got a bad headache and I'm sick and hurt all over. I don't think I'll drink anymore. Alright, so I'm actually going to take a break from the reading for a second to show you this worksheet we're going to be working on along with it. So if you go to your classroom and the classwork Flowers for Algernon, Day 3, Progress Report number 9, you'll click on that, and here are the questions. I put a note up here to stop when you get to Progress Report 11 because there is no Progress Report number 10. So it's just for you to know. First off, what are you noticing about the length of the progress reports? If you looked at this last one that I just read, that was all from the same date. Okay. April 3rd. This is all April 3rd, right? It's pretty good length, considering how short March 29th was and March 28th, March 25th. So he is writing more, even though he doesn't feel smarter. He's certainly showing that he's writing. Okay, so that's something that's changed. The language, how has the language changed? Okay, so some of these things that he's saying are a little bit different than before as well. For instance, we see that he capitalizes the word American. He's spelling a lot more things correctly. If you look here, for instance, he spelled the word headache correctly, which is a pretty hard word for someone of his capacity to spell, considering some of the other words that he spells wrong towards the beginning, like right and should. Okay, now, and happens, and suddenly he's able to spell words like headache with the CH instead of a K. He's not just sounding out the words anymore. It seems like he's actually memorizing the spelling for some of these things without even realizing that he's able to do that or get smarter. Something else, okay, Charlie doesn't remember what happened with his friends, okay? They're saying the cop probably beat him up. Do you guys think that's true? Do you think that these guys actually care about Charlie like he thinks they do? I mean, this guy thinks that these are his best friends, these guys that are bringing him to a bar and having him show the women at the bar how he cleans a toilet. You guys think that's a good friend? Okay, just reflect on what that probably means with the way that these people are treating him. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read April 6th for you. I beat Algernon. I didn't even know I beat him until Bert the tester told me. Then the second time I lost because I got so excited I fell off the chair before I finished. But after that I beat him 8 more times. I must be getting smart to beat a smart mouse like Algernon, but I don't feel smarter. I wanted to race Algernon some more, but Bert said that's enough for one day. They let me hold him for a minute. He's not so bad. He's soft like a ball of cotton. He blinks, and when he opens his eyes, they're black and pink on the edges. I said I can feed him because I felt bad to beat him, and I wanted to be nice and make friends. Bert said, no, Algernon is a very special mouse with an operation like mine, and he was the first of all the animals to stay smart so long. He told me Algernon is so smart that every day he has to solve a test to get his food. It's a thing like a lock on a door that changes every time Algernon goes in to eat, so he has to learn something new to get his food. That made me sad because if he couldn't learn, he would be hungry. I don't think it's right to make you pass a test to eat. How would Dr. Niemer like it to have to pass a test every time he wanted to eat? I think I'll be friends with Algernon. Alright, so you have one question for that section. How do you think Charlie beat Algernon? Does he seem any smarter? Alright, so did he outsmart him, or is something going on with the mouse? What do you think? Okay. April 9th. Tonight after work, Miss Kenyon was at the laboratory. She looked like she was glad to see me, but scared. I told her, don't worry, Miss Kenyon, I'm not smart yet, and she laughed. She said, I have confidence in you, Charlie, the way you struggled so hard to read and write better than all the others. The worst, you will have it for a little while, and you're doing something for science. We are reading a very hard book. I never read such a hard book before. It's called Robinson Crusoe, about a man who gets marooned on a desert island. He's smart and figures out all kinds of things so he can have a house and food, and he's a good swimmer. Only I felt sorry because he's all alone and has no friends. But I think there must be somebody else on the island because there's a picture with this funny umbrella looking at footprints. I hope he gets a friend and not be lonely. Okay, you do not have any questions for April 9th. April 10th. Miss Kenyon teaches me to spell better. She says look at a word and close your eyes and say it over and over until you remember. I have lots of trouble with through, that you say through, and enough and tough that you don't say in you and to. You got to say enough and tough. That's how I used to write it before I started to get smart. I'm confused, but Miss Kenyon says there's no reason in spelling. April 14th. Finished Robinson Crusoe. I want to find out what happens to him, but Miss Kenyon says that's all there is. Why? Okay, so he's starting to think about things deeper, right? He wants to know not just what happens, but why it happens. Or why are words spelled that way, right? Not just, oh, I don't know how to spell them, but why are they not spelled the way that they sound? So he's starting to think more about the world around him and think a little more critically. April 15th. Miss Kenyon says I'm learning fast. She read some of the progress reports and she looked at me kind of funny. She says I'm a fine person and I'll show them all. I asked her why. She said never mind, but I shouldn't feel bad if I find out that everybody isn't nice like I think. She said for a person who God gave so little to you, done more than a lot of people with brains they never even used. I said all my friends are smart people, but they are good. They like me and they never did anything that wasn't nice. Then she got something in her eye and she had to run out to the ladies' room. Alright. So I do have a question for this. What does Miss Kenyon seem to think of Charlie's friends based on his progress report? So we have some direct things that the author's telling us, right? I shouldn't feel bad to find out that everybody isn't nice like I think, okay? So we know that she said that, okay? But what else can we infer here? It says, then she got something in her eye, and she had to run out to the ladies' room. Do you think that's literal? Do you think that's really what happened? Or do you think that she had something else happen, and that's just what she told Charlie? Alright. April 16th. Today I learned the comma. This is a comma. A period with a tail. Miss Kenyon says it's important because it makes writing better. She said somebody could lose a lot of money if a comma isn't in the right place. I don't have any money, and I don't see how a comma keeps you from losing it. But she says everybody uses commas, so I'll use them too. Alright, so Charlie's experimenting a little bit with punctuation here. April 17th. I used the comma wrong. It's punctuation. Miss Kenyon told me to look up long words in the dictionary to learn to spell them. I said, what's the difference if you can read it anyway? She said it's part of your education. So now I'll look up all the words I'm not sure how to spell. It takes a long time to write that way, but I think I'm remembering. I only have to look up once to write that way, but I think I'm remembering. Oh, sorry. I reread that line. I only have to look up once, and after that I'll get it right. Anyway, that's how come I got the word punctuation right. It's that way in the dictionary. Miss Kenyon says a period is punctuation too, and there are lots of other marks to learn. I told her I thought all the periods had to have tails, but she said no. Alright, so you can see even in this entry, Charlie's starting to use the commas correctly. Like in this sentence here. Miss Kenyon says a period is punctuation too, comma, and there are lots of other marks to learn. So he's starting to actually use the comma correctly. You got to mix them up. She showed me how to mix them up. And now I can mix up all kinds of punctuation in my writing. There are lots of rules to learn, but I'm getting them in my head. One thing I like about dear Miss Kenyon, that's the way it goes in a business letter if I ever go into business, is she always gives me a reason when I ask. She's a genius. I wish I could be smart like her. Punctuation is fun. Alright, so he got the hang of the comma, but now he's learning a whole lot of different punctuation. He doesn't quite seem to know what to do with it. So for April 17th, what are you noticing about Charlie's spelling and punctuation compared to his previous entries? April 18th, what a dope I am. I didn't even understand what she was talking about. I read the grammar book last night and it explains the whole thing. Then I saw it the same way as Miss Kenyon was trying to tell me, but I didn't get it. I got up in the middle of the night, and the whole thing straightened out in my mind.